If you guys have been listening to my stories on my channel for a while now, you may remember that years ago I made this video about how I hate it when people say, "Well, I didn't know." Anytime they say something stupid and then they get roasted for it because they said something out of ignorance. And then the person's only defense is, "I didn't know," something like that. Well, I happened to remember something else that people say that gets me. And I guess it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just bothers me because it's one of those things that I can instantly counter. And then the other person just doesn't know what to say or be helpful. Let's say that you describe something that somebody does that's just off putting. Say, for me, one of the things that I hate someone may do is gossip. You being indiscreet. It just gets me. For that person who is a chronic gossiper and I to coexist, there's going to be an agreement that we're going to have to reach. We're going to have to find common ground to be able to stand on. She's not going to stop gossiping in the same manner that I'm not going to stop being discreet. But occasionally when this happens and I'm absolutely forced to share a space with this person, spend time with this person, collaborate with this person, whatever the fuck it may be. Some people may be aware that that's how I feel about this person. This person stresses me out and I am not afraid of verbalizing that. But the person I'm telling may respond with, "That's just the way that she is." And I'm like, what about me? What about the way that I am? And I typically don't like to recur to whataboutism, but coming up, I'll have a few more instances in which I consider whataboutism to be a necessary component for a productive conversation. Because this person, being a gossiper, has detrimental effects on people, on a team, on productivity, on just people's lives in general. I, as a discreet person, can also see how me being discreet can be a little bit of a bad thing. Because, say, if I keep information to myself, because I'm not voicing it doesn't give it the opportunity of the information reaching the right ears and the right ears being able to produce a potential solution that I may not have considered or anybody else may have considered. It doesn't give the matter an opportunity to flourish and grow. In the same manner that it doesn't give the matter an opportunity to spread and become an issue in other ways. So in the same manner that she as a gossiper is bad, but it's just the way she is, me as someone discreet being bad is just the way that I am. So why is it that sometimes a person's response is just that? It's, well, that's just the way he is. That's just the way she is. And if I'm bringing up a trait about somebody that I find challenging, what about me though? Like, do I not matter? Do my feelings not count? Does it not matter? I understand that by me voicing things, it may seem like I'm a problem. But if I'm having complaints and another person is having complaints and another person is having complaints and it's similar in nature, don't you think that ought to bring us together and be like, hey man, there's just some behavior that needs to be rectified because this is the consequences that it's having. In the same manner that I had to learn how to speak up about certain situations or how to share information that I knew I had, but because I like to be discreet, I realized that by me withholding some information, I could have prevented something from happening because a proper authority did not have the information on time, whereas I did, but me having that information is not useful because I wasn't an authority figure. Like, that's way different than the harm caused by the person who simply feel compelled to repeat everything that you hear. You don't have to. So that's what I was executing. I'm like, well, just because I hear something doesn't mean I have to repeat it. But the only times I have made exceptions, it's after I learned how it can be beneficial to learn to identify the person I ought to share information with, especially at work when there's like a schedule change and nobody knows about it. I'm like, I think I ought to communicate this with a pertinent person because it will affect things based on the info that I know. As a small courtesy, I want to make sure that that other person is aware. And I was able to stop a disaster one time by me speaking up. And then I thought, okay, speaking up is not always a bad thing. But see what I mean? Just don't come at me and say, it's just the way he is. It's just the way she is. Because we're gonna have problems. And you're gonna have to deal with my perspective. What about me? What about the way that I am? Loud people stress me out. People who gossip stress me out. People who talk about useless shit stress me out. People who are cluttering spaces stress me out. What about me? I mean, it's a challenge that I have. Why is it that when I have the challenge, it's dismissed? So yeah, you guys, I thought I would share that with you. I'm not sure I was able to really express what I mean very clearly because, to be fair, this is my first time ever attempting to really share this, but I hope that you guys see what I mean. Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever shared something with someone and someone says it's just the way that they are and you found that useful? Me, years ago, I kind of did. The first time I heard someone say that to me, I was just having like a complaint about something that a boyfriend was doing to me. And then someone who had known him for longer than I had just told me, maybe it's just the way he is. And then I thought, but that doesn't have to be acceptable to me or to anybody. From that moment on, that's, I think, when the seed of what about me was planted, because I thought my problem had always been that I have the tendency of dismissing myself, dismissing how I feel, dismissing how something makes me think. And now I'm at a point where I want to defend what I feel and how I feel, because if I arrive at that feeling, it's for a reason. It's because something ain't right, and it shouldn't be right. Under some circumstances it can be, but not always. So I think it's worthy of discussing the anomaly, the exception, and then help make that matter better. Anyways, you guys, maybe after sharing this in the future, I'll be able to express this a little better, because I don't feel like I did a good job with it. But at least I put it out there. The whole, it's just the way they are. Why is it acceptable? What about me? Like, do you have any interest in myself and the way that I am? You know, why is this the only lane available, the only avenue available? So yeah, I'll just leave it at that.